Todd Chrisley admits to smuggling contraband in prison. Todd Chrisley has admitted to smuggling contraband while in prison. This was shocking for fans to hear. He did not hold back and admitted everything. People were more shocked that he would say this out loud to the public. It also ticked people off that he did not see a problem with it now that he has been pardoned. It seems Julie and Todd had two different experiences in prison. Keep reading to find out more about this situation. Julie Chrisley suffers from PTSD. Todd and Julie Chrisley were in federal prison for over 2 years for tax evasion and fraud. However, it seems the two had very different experiences when it comes to how they were treated. When talking about it, they admit that Julie had a harder time. Savannah has even commented about how she sees more PTSD in her mother than her father. This does not shock fans as they thought this the entire time. Some are saying that Todd had a vacation while Julie was stuck in prison. She has seemed more reserved since her return home as well. It took longer for her to be seen in public than it did for Todd. Todd Chrisley has admitted to smuggling in contraband in a recent interview. Julie asked what he had to eat, and he let her know that he got fast food like Chick-fil-A, Burger King, and more. Outside food is not allowed in prison, so fans immediately knew that he admitted to getting contraband. So I guess since Todd got pardoned, it's odd for him to admit to smuggling in contraband while in prison. He complains that the guards are corrupt, but then he has them do corrupt things for him. Also, if I was in prison with him, I would be pissed that he is now on the outside snitching on the guards for bringing food in. Yes, hung himself in this interview since his ego rules him. He will always trip himself up. It showed Savannah, who was screaming how the prisoners in his prison were starved and had to only eat expired food. That is assuming Todd is actually telling the truth about having outside food brought in. Everyone in the Chrisley family are habitual liars. People are not happy about what he had to say. It seems as though Todd was able to eat things such as Chick-fil-A, Burger King, Culver's, pizza, and more. This was shocking for fans to hear. They are not usually allowed outside food, so this means that someone was getting it in for him. If he got this, what else did he get? Fans are now worried that Todd was contributing to the corruption of the prison system. What do you think about this? Are you shocked as well? Sound off in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts on this situation. In a startling and brutally honest revelation, Todd Chrisley, star of the hit reality series Chrisley Knows Best, has admitted to smuggling contraband during his time behind bars. The confession, delivered during an unfiltered conversation on his daughter Savannah Chrisley's Unlocked podcast, has added a dramatic new twist to an already headline-dominating narrative surrounding the Chrisley family's legal troubles and public downfall. It's a jaw-dropping admission that paints a vivid picture of life on the inside and offers a raw look at how even high-profile inmates face temptations and moral dilemmas when stripped of freedom, fame, and control. Todd Chrisley served time in federal prison after being convicted in a high-profile fraud and tax evasion case that saw both him and his wife Julie sentenced to multiple years behind bars. While he has consistently denied any intentional wrongdoing in the crimes that put him in prison, his latest disclosure marks the first time he's openly admitted to knowingly breaking rules while incarcerated. "Yeah, I did it," Todd said without flinching. "I smuggled things in, things that weren't allowed. And I'll be honest, I did it for survival. I did it to keep my sanity." The revelation came during a candid discussion about the daily realities of prison life, a subject Todd has opened up about more freely in recent months as he reclaims his voice following his early release. While he didn't name the specific items involved, sources close to the Chrisleys and speculation online suggest the contraband could have included items like snacks, hygiene products, or even electronics, items inmates often turn to for a sense of control and comfort in an otherwise rigid, punishing environment. "I wasn't running a black market operation," Todd clarified. "But yeah, I broke the rules. I took things I wasn't supposed to. I knew the risk. But there comes a point when you're behind those bars, and you start doing what you need to do just to stay mentally alive. That phrase, mentally alive, has sparked a wildfire of conversation across social media platforms, with fans and critics alike debating the meaning, the motive, and the morality of Todd's actions. Many argue that his candor is a refreshing break from the polished public image that once defined the Chrisley family. Others insist it undermines his credibility and suggests he still believes he's above the rules, even after serving time for fraud. Still, Todd made no attempt to justify the behavior. Instead, he leaned into it with raw honesty. "I'm not proud of it. I'm not here to glamorize anything. I'm just telling the truth. If I was anything in prison, it was honest. With myself, with God, with the other guys doing time. And if that means confessing to stuff I know wasn't right, then that's what I'm going to do." This willingness to be vulnerable and transparent has become a hallmark of Todd's post-prison public reemergence. Since returning to civilian life, he has repeatedly emphasized the spiritual and emotional transformation he experienced during his incarceration. Yet this new confession adds a layer of complexity to that narrative. It exposes the tension between personal growth and human weakness, between redemption and the constant fight to stay afloat in one of the harshest environments imaginable. Savannah, who sat opposite her father during the podcast recording, appeared visibly stunned by his openness. "I knew prison changed you," she said. "But I didn't know it had broken you down to that point." Todd nodded. "It didn't just break me, Savannah. It broke everything I thought I was. And in that break, I had to decide who I was going to be. That's when I realized I didn't want to come out of there pretending I had it all together." His confession about contraband wasn't about legal implications, he explained. It was about moral responsibility. "People think just because you're a celebrity inmate, you're protected. That's a lie. There's no protection from depression. There's no celebrity pass for loneliness. When you haven't talked to your wife in weeks, when you miss your kids, when the noise in your head gets louder than the noise of the prison gates slamming, that's when you find yourself doing things you never thought you would." The prison where Todd served his time, Federal Prison Camp Pensacola, has a reputation for housing white-collar offenders, but Todd has repeatedly described his experience as anything but easy. He's spoken about harsh treatment, lack of privacy, and the overwhelming mental and emotional toll that incarceration takes. In light of his contraband admission, advocates for prison reform have jumped in, suggesting that his story underscores a much broader systemic issue: the inhumane conditions that push even nonviolent inmates toward desperate acts of rebellion and self-preservation. While federal prison officials have not commented on Todd's claims, legal experts suggest the risk of additional charges is low unless further investigation reveals more significant violations. Even so, the admission adds a layer of vulnerability to Todd's public persona and is likely to reshape how audiences view his redemption arc. For some, the confession may deepen their respect for a man who's choosing honesty over image. For others, it may reinforce skepticism about his accountability. The Chrisley family has remained a focal point of pop culture since their reality show first premiered, known for its extravagant lifestyle, cheeky humor, and tight-knit dynamics. But that image began unraveling when Todd and Julie were indicted and convicted, revealing years of financial manipulation behind their glossy facade. Since then, their story has transformed from reality TV escapism to a raw tale of downfall, consequences, and now potential redemption. Todd's latest confession doesn't erase the crimes that landed him in prison. It doesn't excuse the hurt caused or the millions defrauded. But in a world where public figures often rewrite their pasts or hide behind PR-driven narratives, it stands out for one reason: it's real. As Todd Chrisley reclaims his place in the spotlight, not as a reality star, but as a man laid bare, his journey continues to provoke, challenge, and captivate. Whether audiences forgive, applaud, or criticize him, one thing is undeniable: he's telling his truth, no matter how messy it may be. "I know I'll be judged," he said, voice steady. But I've already faced the ultimate judgment, sitting alone in a cell with nothing but my thoughts and the choices that got me there. After that, telling the truth isn't the hard part. Living with a lie is. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, America Trends 24, and stay with us.